Welcome back to another one of my videos. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about what you need to do to start your first open mic as a host. I came up with this idea because I'm hosting an open mic today and I had nothing else to talk about, and I'm like, oh, I actually have stuff to say about this topic. So the first thing I would say about an open mic is you got to pick the right venue. So you want a venue that has a good area for a stage. You want it to be walkable because you want people to walk by the business and be able to walk in and see what's going on and then potentially stay and watch your open mic. Because there's a few open mics that are just hard to get to or outside of where people would regularly go out. So it's just hard to get people to watch the open mic if no one's out in the area. And one thing to make sure when starting this open mic, you got to see if the venue has a sound system, a microphone, like a mic stand, like all the stuff, all the equipment you need for a mic, because some of the places will have it, but the open mic I host doesn't. So me and my co-host, we split the cost on the equipment. We got a decent deal on a mixer and speaker, and then bought a decent microphone, borrowed a light for someone. That's an important thing to have, because you want the stage to be well lit, but you want it to be, the room to sort of be dark too, ideally. And you don't want the room to be too long. You want it to sort of be more wide than long, because the longer the room is, the more likely someone in the crowd is to just hide in the back. And it's easier to not pay attention when you're far away from the stage. And if it's a bar, they're just going to be talking. Since they're not close, they're not going to feel bad for talking, since they're not talking by the stage. And the more packed in the room is, the louder the laughs sound when they come. This is coming from someone who has hosted an open mic for a year, and I'm 2.5 years into stand-up comedy. But if you have more experience, feel free to let me know in the comments below, because I'm willing to learn. Something that comes with having equipment is there's going to be technical difficulties. For me, the first few were rough, and every once in a while we have some technical difficulties that require a fix on the fly. Most of the time it's something easy. Like last open mic I hosted, I turned up the volume on the mixer and the microphone was peaking. Like it was making a popping noise because I guess it was too loud, or there's too much something in the volume. And so it took me like 3 or 4 comics to fix it, and I felt bad. Like it was bad for their sets, it was bad for the room. But luckily I fixed it while someone was on stage. Thankfully, it was a comic I know. He handled himself like a pro, so he just ignored me until I got the mic sounding right, and then it was back to normal. But something like I've done with the technical difficulties, me and my co-host do this, is we lean into the janky equipment, because that's a free joke. It's like I'd rather make fun of the equipment than make fun of myself. So that, like, not too often, but especially if something's sort of janky, like we got a mic stand that unscrews, like people unscrew it while they're on stage. And so just addressing it so they know that, oh, this is a little janky, maybe we shouldn't just mess with it. We've gone through 2 mic stands, I think, in a year of hosting. Something that's very important for an open mic is figuring out how much time to give people. Once you decide how much time there is, you better make sure you start that timer when that person gets on stage. Because it took me months to consistently start the timer so I know when to give people the light to indicate they have a minute left. Like there would be so many times I'd be in the back with my co-host, it's like, oh no, I didn't start it. You think he's gone like 2 minutes? And we just sort of guess. We try not to like cut him off too short. Like we try to give him some grace, because it's your mistake if you mess up. It's not on the comic. So you shouldn't give the comic the short end of the stick, in my opinion. A very important thing about running an open mic is spreading the word that it's happening. Something we do, we try to post every week on Instagram. We don't do the best. If you want, you can do it better if you post on Facebook, Instagram, like all the social medias. And the more you post, the better it is. It's just, I don't want to, me personally, I post on my personal Instagram account, and I don't want to spam my like real life friends and family members with 7 posts of the same thing when I'm running a mic. But that works better for promotion. Like more people will see it that way. Because I feel like a big talking point for open mics is the crowd. And it's nice having a crowd, but you also need to get the comics to come too. Like when we were starting out, we had some nights more crowd members than comedians. And it's just because we didn't spread the word well enough. And so like when I'm out doing open mics throughout the week, I'll I'll make sure to talk to everyone I know and try to just ask them if they're going to be at the open mic when it's happening. Because most of the time people aren't thinking about it, and if you ask them, they're more likely to go than if you don't ask them. When we started telling more people about it and started pushing more for the promotion, more people would show up consistently. We used to struggle to get like 10 people to sign up, but now we're in the 20s pretty much every week. I guess the last thing I would say that's important when hosting an open mic, especially if it's your first time doing it, make sure to try to make it fun. Like, I know it's stressful hosting a room, getting the venue to keep letting you put your show on. But if you're not having fun while hosting an open mic, at least starting out, then it's going to be a long road. Because this should be fun. Like, obviously there's long nights, there's nights I want to go home. But this is your venue. It's mostly your rules. You get to pick the vibe, because as the host, that's your whole responsibility. Set the bar for the other comedians. Your job as the host isn't to be the funniest person on stage. Your job as the host is to reset the crowd enough so each comedian going up has a fair chance of having a good set, regardless of how the person before them did. Because if someone just had one of the, like, a awful bomb, you don't want to just send someone right up there. You want to sort of give some, like, reset the room a little bit, like maybe tell a quick joke just to sort of move on from what just happened. And even if it doesn't work, it still gives more of a buffer, and then you get the next comic up there and maybe they can win the room back. And if not, you can't always have a good room as a host. Some nights are going to be bad nights, but as long as I feel like you try to keep improving and be intentional about what you're doing as a host and what works and what doesn't work, it'll eventually come together. If you make the room feel like they're having fun, it's just a better energy. Because if you're having fun up there, regardless of how the crowd is, then that'll encourage other people to do the same. And if you're loose up there and you loosen the crowd up, it's like, oh, this guy's talking about nonsense, but at least I know it's about to be time for jokes. And that's all I have in this video. If you're still watching at this point, like the video, subscribe if you want, comment if you want. And one last thing, Irish goodbye.